If you are an adult with hearing aids and you are about to get new hearing aids, this video is for you. Hello, my name is Emily. I created Definite Hearing as a way to increase awareness for the deaf and hard of hearing. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the adjustment from old hearing aids to new hearing aids. Believe it or not, if you have had hearing aids before, your new hearing aids will sound different. I hope you stick around to the end of this video because if you do, I am going to share the story of my switch from Rick's receiver in the canal hearing aids to BTE or behind the ear hearing aids. Stick around to the end for that. All right, so when you've had hearing aids for a while, you're like, I've been there, done that, I'm increasing my confidence. I feel like I understand what it is like to have that additional sound and just how things are going. But if you've had hearing aids before and you're getting new hearing aids, get ready for some changes because most likely technology has drastically improved since you got your last hearing aids. So your hearing aids will have new bells and whistles and they will sound different. With these new hearing aids, do not be afraid to explore a little on color. If you're getting receiver in the canal hearing aids or Rick's, you have the same option to choose a back color, a different back color on your hearing aid, like you do if you have a BTE hearing aid. As you can see, I wear white BTE hearing aids. Why would I choose white? Well, fun fact, my last set of hearing aids, my receiver in the canal or Rick hearing aids, they were brown. So you'll notice I went from brown, which blends into my hair, to white, which does not blend into my hair at all. And that is exactly why I chose my white hearing aids. And I love them for that reason, because not only do I just wear hearing aids and like them, but now with my white hearing aids, I embrace them and I love them. And they are such a fun discussion point for me. So if you're getting new hearing aids and you've had them before, consider what color you have had and what color you might be interested in getting. Don't be afraid to step outside of the box. I would also include this with ear mold color. So if you wear behind the ear hearing aids, most likely you will have a mold. I wear gold sparkly molds. It is so easy to choose a neutral color that blends in with your skin tone, but realize that you could do colors as well. I think that there is a status quo that you have to have a certain color to remain discreet or professional. And I just have to say that one, hearing aids and ear molds, they're interchangeable. So if you really want to stay professional or discreet, you can get a set of molds that does that. But if that's your reason, I say don't be afraid to pick a color. Ear molds are usually hard to see anyway, and so just do what you would like. Be confident with your hearing aid color and ear mold color. Do not be afraid to step outside of the box. You might be surprised to see what kind of a boost in confidence this extra step presents. I feel like I have opened a whole new world since I picked my white hearing aids and my glitter ear molds. Okay, so once you get your new hearing aids, they will be fit to you. The audiologist will look at your hearing audiogram and make sure that these new hearing aids are fit to you. Now, the thing is, they are not gonna sound like your old hearing aids. Your brain is going to have to readjust. This is normal. Things that did not sound loud before might sound loud now. So for me, the sounds that always get me when I get new hearing aids are rustlings of like paper. It just sounds so sharp and cringy. Dishes are almost unbearable when I get new hearing aids. And then last but not least, I feel like plugged or underwater. And it just is always weird. I just feel like it's not echoey, but it just feels like I'm plugged when I get new hearing aids. And the reasoning for this is because each hearing aid processes sound differently. And when you have just a tiny variation in the sound that's going to your brain, it makes a big difference. And so your brain has to switch to these new hearing aids and get used to them and kind of recalibrate itself. And the hard thing is this can take 3 to 6 weeks to get used to. 3 to 6 weeks. I tell myself that it's just gonna be 6 weeks of like adjusting until I feel normal. And during that time, I have emotional roller coasters. There are some days where I'm like, oh my goodness, whoa, sound, like that music sounds so cool. Like these hearing aids are working. Or like when I got my new Bluetooth features, I was stoked and I still am. Like upgrading new hearing aids just for the Bluetooth alone is so worth it. Music sounds incredible. Phone calls, you can finally hear so much more of what people are saying because you don't have the feedback from holding up your phone. And then also just that gap is awkward. But like, phone calls straight through your ears are amazing. Music has never sounded better. But there are also those times where it's like, I didn't know what you said, or like, dishes are unbearable. I hate that sound. Will you please stop that? So it's normal to have this like roller coaster of dealing with adjusting to hearing aids. And even though you've had hearing aids before, sometimes it's hard for loved ones or friends to understand that like, yeah, I've had hearing aids before, but when you adjust, it's a big adjustment. And hearing fatigue manifests itself so much more and so much easier. So that is kind of my last thing of adjusting to new hearing aids when you've already had them. You feel like, yeah, I've done this before, but you really have not done this before. These are new hearing aids to you. The technology has drastically improved. And so there will be some growing pains, adjusting pains to that. Have you experienced some of these adjustment pains to new hearing aids? If so, I would love to hear in the comments below. Were they positive? Were they negative? I would still love to hear in the comments below. But realize if you have had hearing aids before, it is normal to have to readjust to your new hearing aids, physically, mentally, emotionally, in all those ways. And I deal with that. So I just want to let you know you are not alone. Thanks so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I want to tell about my transition from RIC to BTE hearing aids. So my RIC hearing aids are much smaller. They were brown. They were really hard to see. We realized that my hearing loss was too severe to be in a small RIC hearing aid. And so I needed to bump up to a BTE, which is bigger, more noticeable, but it is powerful enough to get the proper sound to my brain. And I love it because with these hearing aids, I have been hearing more. I don't have to say what as often. I can just enjoy sound without having to strain to hear it. And so it has been amazing to make the switch. Some people might be self-conscious of like the difference between a RIC or a BTE, but look at this. I have bright white hearing aids, okay? Look at this. When I turn, you can barely see that they're bright and white. And these are meant to stick out. From the back, they are a lot more obvious, which is normal. But imagine if I had brown hearing aids. What I'm trying to say is do not sacrifice the power of the hearing aid for the color or the size of the hearing aid that your vanity wants. If you're going to pay so much for hearing aids, make sure you get the right ones. And your audiologist will map your hearing and recommend the right hearing aids for you. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to making more great content for you. Stay strong, stay amazing, have a great day.